Kecemasan, boleh saya bantu?
Hello, there's been a motorcycle accident here. Maybe an elephant ran it over?
Sir, there is fire accident at the address number 5 Jalan Tembikar, Shah Alam.
PGO from FRT Shah Alam, there was no fire accident here, over.
MERS 999. Use it wisely.
Coming to you live from our studio in Kuching, Sarawak, this is TVS Nightline. You're with me, Douglas Elliott, and let's go to our top story. The government will stay true to the principle of leaving no one behind under the 12 Malaysia Plan in an effort to transform Malaysia into a developed country. According to Prime Minister Dato Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, the 12 MP will tackle the development differences between states and the income gap between the socio-economic groups.
In the name of Keluarga Malaysia, we will ensure that basic needs such as water, electricity, and internet connections are met for all Malaysians.
Ismail Sabri also assures the 2022 budget, which will be presented in Parliament on October 29, will address all fiscal problems immediately.
And this year, for the first time, we have also released a pre-budget statement to outline our intention for the budget. We have also distributed 5 public consultation papers on a variety of structural reform issues.
On the COVID-19 front, the Prime Minister said Malaysia is accepting the fact that the country is not returning to pre-COVID conditions and added that the National Recovery Council will play an active role in restoring the country's health and economy. Thus, the government will take on an inclusive social approach and develop strategies that will bring Malaysia out of the pandemic crisis into the endemic phase.
And expect surprises in store in conjunction with the 85th birthday of the Yang di-Pertua Negeri Sarawak Tun Pehin Sri Abdul Taib Mahmud this Sunday. Minister of Utilities Dato Sri Dr. Stephen Rundi Uttam revealed following a courtesy call to the Chief Minister Dato Patinggi Abang Johari Tun Openg at Wisma Bapa Malaysia this morning.
Rundi, who is also the chairperson of the event, said a 3-minute video that depicts Taib's childhood story will be among the highlights of the event. Similar to last year, the celebration will remain in a hybrid manner.
It's actually, the function is a hybrid function, meaning virtual and also physical, in view of the number of seats and so on. We allow between 100 to 300 people only because of SOP.
And 143,000 students nationwide, except in Kedah and Johor, were back in schools after 6 months disclosure.
Of the total number, 94,000 students are from schools in Group B, consisting of Negeri Sembilan, Pahang, Melaka, Selangor, Kuala Lumpur, Penang, Perak, Putrajaya, Sabah, Perlis, Sarawak and Labuan. Schools in Group A, namely those in Terengganu, Kelantan and Langkawi, started their face-to-face school session yesterday. Senior Education Minister Datuk Sri Radzi Jidin said attendance rate is satisfactory while the teaching and learning sessions are conducted in full compliance with the stipulated standard operating procedures SOPs. During his visit to several schools in Negeri Sembilan, he stated no action would be taken against parents who opt to not send their child to school. However, they would need to notify the school prior. Radzi said a similar trend occurred when schools were reopened in June 2020 and March 2021. He also noted that the attendance rate of Sijil Pelajaran Malaysia SPM and Sijil Tinggi Persekolahan Malaysia STPM candidates are satisfactory.
While school sessions resumes nationwide today, 2 schools in Sarawak have to delay its reopening after 3 of its teachers were confirmed to be COVID-19 positive. The Ministry of Health MOH has ordered the two schools in Lawas, namely SMK Trusan and SMK Merapu, to close until October 6.
Di SMK Merapu Lawas, apabila buat ujian, ada guru-gurunya didapati positif. 2 orang gurunya didapati positif. Manakala di Trusan ada seorang gurunya didapati positif. Jadi kita mengambil langkah keselamatan yang tegas, yang kuat bersama-sama dengan KKM, dan KKM telah melakukan surat supaya 2 sekolah ini ditutup sementara sehingga 6 hari bulan Oktober.
Earlier, Alamin was met during a press conference at Taman Matang Jaya Special Education School in Kuching.
The search and rescue operation for the missing anglers on board a fishing vessel that capsized near PULAU SATANG enters its 3rd day today. Rescuers have intensified their search through assets deployment. However, no clues emerged at the end of the Day 3 operation.
The SAR operation resumed at 7 a.m. this morning. Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency Maritime Sarawak Director First Maritime Admiral Zain Azman Muhammad Yunus said the operation today received air assistance from the Royal Malaysian Air Force. Weather-wise, the sea and weather at the location today are a bit turbulent, with wind speeds of 20 to 30 kilometers per hour and wave heights of 1 to 1.5 meters. The total search area was estimated at 795.31 square nautical miles. The search for another victim will continue until the 7th day. Yesterday, 9 out of the 10 anglers were found safe early on Sunday morning.
And in response to the Tourism, Arts and Culture Minister Dato Abdul Karim Rahman Hamzah's charting remarks regarding the search and rescue operation on Sunday, Sarawak Fire and Rescue Department Bomba Director Kiruddin Rahman explains that there are limitations in the job scopes, which forces the operation to be postponed due to poor visibility at nightfall.
Dalam arahan ini, saya pun semalam arahkan saya, Saudara Zain Azman, dah jelas bahawa waktu operasi malam kita tidak benarkan. Sebab sekiranya mangsa kita langgar kapal besar yang laut, ya. Sebab kita tengok sungai, bila laut di atas pun kita tak boleh nampak mangsa. Jadi ini isu-isu yang diberi perhatian, dan dalam SOP telah ditetapkan mana bila gelap kita tidak dibenarkan.
Relating to the past incident on October 3rd, 2018, which involved 6 drowned firefighters, the safety of rescue members was among the factors that were of concern, in addition to marine logistics capabilities at the state bomba level.
Ibun arahan ini kita dalam SOP kita 7 hari cari sampai dapat. Dan yang sekiranya dah 7 hari kita pasal set off, tapi ada rayuan daripada mangsa, kita teruskan lagi. Dengan ada petanda baru, kita proceed dan kita tambah. Dan setakat ya, di Sarawak ni kita belum lagi gagal kita menolak ke tepi tanggungjawab ini.
And the government has urged East Malaysian palm oil companies to consider implementing the East Malaysia Crude Palm Oil Futures Contract, or FEPO, in their risk management strategy to remain competitive globally. Minister of Plantation Industries and Commodities, Dato Zuraida Kamaruddin, said the establishment of FEPO in Sabah and Sarawak will elevate the Malaysian palm oil industry, especially in setting benchmarks for the global palm oil price.
Zuraida said FEPO, since its launch in East Malaysia, has contributed 45% of last year's crude palm oil total production, which is timely for the development of the palm oil industry in Sabah and Sarawak. Likewise, she said neighboring countries to Sabah and Sarawak, such as China, can now purchase palm oil in East Malaysia instead. Zuraida said the implementations of FEPO in East Malaysia will also contribute to the development of the economy and provide job opportunities to the people of Sabah and Sarawak. Furthermore, she said the respective state governments will be able to reciprocate the benefits and gain additional incomes from the port activities subsequent to the commissioning of the port tank installation (PTI) for the FEPO market. In 2020, palm oil constituted nearly 3.6% of the gross domestic product (GDP) and contributed 57% of Malaysia's commodities output to the GDP, not spared by the effect of the COVID-19 pandemic. Sarawak Chief Minister Datuk Petinggi Abang Johari Chun Openg said the FEPO contract will provide Sarawak with some assurance that it will serve as a rebalance mechanism allowing for a refined price discovery mechanism and options for physical delivery in Sarawak and Sabah.
Kecemasan, boleh saya bantu?
Hello, there's been a motorcycle accident here. Maybe an elephant ran it over?
Sir, there is fire accident at the address number 5 Jalan Tembika Shah Alam.
PGO from FRT Shah Alam, there was no fire accident here. Over.
MERS 999. Use it wisely.
Suatu ketika dahulu Lungun ni seorang pahlawan yang memang betul-betul hebat lah. Banyak musuh yang terkorban dengan dia lah.
Dulu ya, bangsawan nak menjalin hubungan diplomatik ya, dia akan menghadiahkan porselen yang mahal macam tu.
Masa yang sama adalah untuk menunjukkan kekayaan keluarga tersebut. Dan satu lagi untuk menunjukkan orang itu adalah pemimpin.
Kepada sesiapa yang ada cinta misteri, sila hantar cerita anda ke misteri kedai gunting @TVSTVMY.
Dari segi nyanyian, saya tahu lagu saya masih berkumandang untuk lagu yang memperkenalkan saya di dalam industri di Takdir Kita Bersama. Menyepi dalam industri, ya, tapi dari segi realitinya masih aktif.
From Sarawak with love.
Welcome back. Malaysia reported 8,075 new COVID-19 infections today, the lowest daily case figure in about 3 months. This brings the cumulative number of cases to 2,285,640. Sarawak State reported 1,189 cases, followed by Kelantan with 1,020 and Penang with 853.
The number of recoveries outnumbered. New cases today with 15,456 patients recovered from the virus. Only 15 cases reported in Category 3, 4 and 5 in Sarawak today. The remaining 1,174 or 98.74% in Category 1 and 2. Kuching District topped the list in the state with 272 new cases, followed by Miri with 205 and Sibu 109. With the total cases reported in Sarawak, this brings the cumulative number to 216,765. Meanwhile, 20 fatalities were reported from June 15th and October 3rd today. Only one cluster emerged in Sarawak involving a community in Limbang, dubbed the Terimah cluster. 3 clusters has ended, dubbed the Sungai Ringin cluster at Meradong, Jalan Bulan Sabit cluster in Miri, and Jalan Batu Lintang cluster in Kuching. No cases reported there in the past 28 days. There are now 100 active clusters in the state, with 4 clusters reported 9 new infections.
And about 19 and 88% of Form 4 and Form 5 students nationwide have received at least 1 dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Health Minister Khairi Jamaluddin on Twitter said it was necessary to ensure that the students could return to class safely as schools reopened today.
About 94,000 students returned to schools today, while 47,000 students in Terengganu, Kelantan and Langkawi, Kedah, started face-to-face classes yesterday. as the first batch of students to return to schools are those sitting for examination. School sessions will use a hybrid rotation method with the weekly attendance set at 50% capacity of classes to reduce the risk of COVID-19 infection. The government is targeting 60% of teenagers between the ages of 12 and 17 to get at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine by November and 80% of them to be fully vaccinated before schools open for the 2022 session.
Meanwhile, the government has been advised to proceed with the heterologous vaccination plan or the use of a different vaccine from the original vaccine received by an individual as booster shots. Health Minister Khairi Jamaluddin said the recommendation was made by the Technical Subcommittee to the COVID-19 Vaccine Supply Access Guarantee Special Committee or JKJAV at a meeting last week.
Dan jawatankuasa kecil teknikal yang dipengerusikan oleh Dr. Kalairasu Peresami, pengarah Institut Pendidikan Klinikal, telah pun mengesyorkan kepada jawatankuasa jaminan akses vaksin untuk booster dose ataupun untuk dos penggalak yang kita akan mulakan pada bulan Oktober ini, dan kajian berkenaan dengan keselamatan ini telah pun dilaksanakan dan disyorkan untuk kita teruskan dengan program heterologous vaccination kita. Terima kasih.
Prior to this, the government had considered the method of mixing two vaccines as part of the implementation of the National COVID-19 Immunization Program PIC to increase antibody neutralization and the effectiveness of the vaccines as done by many other countries. Meanwhile, individuals who cannot be given the COVID-19 vaccine due to medical-related factors can apply for a special digital certificate or vaccination exemption at MySejahtera through the District Health Police Office PKD.
Individu tersebut boleh memohon sijil digital khas atau sijil pengecualian vaksinasi di MySejahtera melalui pejabat kesihatan daerah berdekatan dengan mengemukakan borang khas slip penilaian kesesuaian menerima vaksin COVID-19 bagi pesakit dengan masalah kesihatan tertentu yang telah disahkan oleh pakar perubatan seperti berikut.
He added the digital certificate through MySejahtera will be obtained within a week if the application submitted is complete and meet the stipulated conditions.
And the Malaysia Pavilion officially opens its doors at the Expo 2020 Dubai in style by showcasing its Rainforest Canopy Pavilion. Team Energizing Sustainability, it aims at presenting Malaysia's sustainable vision over the 26-week Expo.
Science, Technology and Innovation Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Adam Baba said Malaysia's participation in the Expo highlights the country's commitment to international collaboration and initiating dialogues on common challenges and opportunities on science, technology and innovation (STI), as well as sustainable development and reaffirming Malaysia's vision of balancing socio-economic development with environmental concerns. Malaysia's participation at Expo 2020 Dubai is spearheaded by the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation MOSTI, while the Malaysian Green Technology and Climate Change Centre MGTC is the implementing agency. Expo 2020 Dubai runs from October 1, 2021 to March 31, 2022, and over 25 million visitors are expected at one of the biggest in-person events since the COVID-19 pandemic outbreak.
And a massive leak of financial documents known as Pandora Papers was published by several major news organizations on Sunday. It allegedly tied world leaders to secret offshore wealth. The dump of more than 11.9 million records, or about 2.94 terabytes of data, came 5 years after the Panama Papers leaks. 2 Malaysian individuals were named in the papers, while 118 offshore companies were linked with Malaysian owners.
The US-based International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, ICIJ, said the files are linked to about 35 current and former national leaders and more than 330 politicians and public officials in 91 countries and territories. However, it did not disclose how the files were obtained. One of the names that appeared in the papers is King Abdullah of Jordan, who was alleged to have used offshore accounts to spend more than $100 million or 417 million ringgit on luxury homes in the United Kingdom and the United States. A London law office representing King Abdullah denied the allegation, told media that he had not misused public monies or made any use of the proceeds of aid or assistance intended for public use. The documents allegedly tied Czech Republic's Prime Minister Babis to a secret $22 million estate in a hilltop village near Cannes, France, days ahead of the country's parliamentary election. Meanwhile, the documents also revealed Joe Low and his connection with Baker McKenzie, the largest law firm in the U.S., who helped create network companies for the fugitive financier in Malaysia and Hong Kong. He was accused by American authorities to channel misappropriate funds from 1MDB.
Salaran Initiative. By 2030, the Sarawak government aims for Sarawak to become a developed state driven by data and innovation. The smart city concept is introduced to improve the efficiency of digital infrastructures. The smart traffic light system are available throughout Kuching, especially traffic congested roads, which can reduce travel time by 25%. With Sarawak Pay, the first e-wallet implemented by the Sarawak government helps to accelerate Sarawak's economic growth and encourage cashless payments. In addition, the online agriculture marketplace has eased rural farmers to promote and sell their products. Meanwhile, 800 CCTVs will be installed throughout Greater Kuching by the end of 2021 to provide a safer environment for the community. This will not only help with crime prevention, but also to warn of natural disasters and emergencies.
Hai, jangan lupa saksikan di balik tabir Getaran Jiwa yang bakal menemui anda 30 September ini setiap hari Khamis jam 5.45 petang, di mana saya Fatah Bolhanuddin akan menceritakan kepada anda pelbagai kisah yang menarik mengenai peserta kita dan yang paling penting elemen surprise kita hanya di TVS saluran 122 Astro dan My TV, drama mengimbau kenangan Getaran Jiwa.
As long as I live, I will do the best I can in advocating in animal welfare. They also need our love. We need to become empathetic, and this will indirectly change our perspective about life, understanding the struggles and suffering of other creatures.
Saya harap orang ramai akan lebih tahu save our strays dan akan spread more awareness tentang animal welfare di whole of Malaysia.
Suatu ketika dahulu Lungun ni seorang pahlawan yang memang betul-betul hebat lah. Banyak musuh yang terkorban dengan dia lah.
Dulu ya, bangsawan nak menjalin hubungan diplomatik ya, dia akan menghadiahkan porselen yang mahal macam tu.
Masa yang sama adalah untuk menunjukkan kekayaan keluarga tersebut. Dan satu lagi untuk menunjukkan orang itu adalah pemimpin.
Kepada sesiapa yang ada cinta misteri, sila hantar cerita anda ke misteri kedai gunting @TVSTVMY.
Thank you for staying with me. Now, from February 2022, Air New Zealand is asking customers to get ready for international travel by getting vaccinated. Customers who wish to travel anywhere on its international network are required to be fully inoculated.
The airline CEO said the vaccination requirement will apply to all passengers aged 18 and older arriving or departing New Zealand. Meanwhile, for those who are not vaccinated, they are required to present proof that vaccination was not a viable option for them due to medical reasons. Foran added, mandating vaccination on their international flights will give both customers and employees the peace of mind that everyone on board meets the same health requirements as they do. In addition, these requirements will sit alongside the measures the airline already has to keep New Zealand safe.
And Turkey's newest park is an underwater museum of 14 shipwrecks, which provides a glimpse into the fierce battles between the Ottoman and Allied forces in World War I.
We were waiting for a long time for this underwater historical park to be opened, and today that is the fortunate day. The park has 14 different shipwrecks for all different levels of divers, so that is why all levels of divers can come here and experience this First World War wreck site.
Turkish photographer Savas Karakas was one of the first to board a motorboat and then dive to the seabed grave that lie beneath the waves of the Dardanelles Strait when the park opened on October 2nd. There he says he was able to reconnect with his grandfather who fought in the Gallipoli campaign of 1915.
And my name Savaş means war. It comes from Gallipoli campaign. My grandfather is a veteran of Gallipoli campaign. And the most amazing thing I see is from the Australian submarine, the AE2, in the Sea of Marmara at 73 meters to Triumph, to Majestic, and to Irresistible. The ship sunk in the naval assault on the 18th of March. The feeling is a connection with my grandfather. My grandfather's hand was disfigured. He was wounded in action. His hand was burnt. I was always scared of his hand when I was a small child. But when I come to Gallipoli and when I dive, the rust metal, the steel, reminds me of my grandfather's hands. And I hold this.
The Gallipoli Historic Underwater Park opened 106 years after Ottoman and Allied German forces halted an invasion by British, French, Australian and New Zealand troops. The Ottoman resistance remains a point of deep pride in modern Turkey. At the time, it thwarted the Allies' plan to control the straits connecting to Aegean to the Black Sea, where their Russian naval allies were penned in. Heavy British losses included the 120-meter HMS Majestic battleship, which is the first stop for divers at a depth of 24 meters off the coast of Sedul Bahir. It and other vessels are largely intact on the seafloor. Turks mark what they call the Çanakkale War on March 18 when Ottoman forces repelled an Allied assault on the Dardanelles, the sole maritime outlet for Arch 4 Russia, sinking a French battleship and destroying British warships. The victory stopped the Allies from entering the straits and taking Istanbul, but resulted in an 8-month standoff. Some 130,000 soldiers perished, 80,000 of them from the Ottoman side, before the Turks, under German command, repulsed the enemy.
And that's all the time we have for Nightline. For the latest news, you can follow our website or follow us on our social media. I'm Douglas Elliott. Good night, until then.
Ramainya yang ingkar PKP.